and welcome to our video today. My name is Sandra Tricoli and I have with me here the lovely Gareth from Concise Digital.
Apparently lovely.
Apparently lovely. So today I want to talk to you a little bit about hosting. I know this is a question that gets asked a lot and
Sure.
Is it okay to be hosting overseas? Why do you believe that it is important to get hosting in Australia?
Locally.
Locally.
So we're in Australia at the moment. And so the most important question, or the most important thing to think about is where are your customers or the users of your website based? If you're an Australian business and you deal with Australian customers, then it makes sense to host your website in Australia, and that is primarily for speed. So because the distance between the user and the web server is in Australia, then it's
a really good point.
That's the logic behind it. Whereas if you're an Australian-based business who's running a Bali tourism website, then you should host your website in Bali.
Sure.
Well, that's if you had Bali users. But if your Bali villa is mostly booked by people that live in Perth, then host it in Perth. It's really just how far away the distance is.
And I guess the further the distance, the slower.
Pretty much. Most people would be hard pressed to know if you looked at a website that was hosted in the US. But if you put the two side by side and then you ran one from the US and one from Australia, you will notice the difference, and Google absolutely knows the difference. So that's probably the most important thing. The other really important thing, and it only applies to a certain group of businesses, and particularly government agencies and larger multinationals, is to do with what's called data sovereignty, which is where the physical information is physically based. If you have a website that is hosted in America or Singapore or Europe or anywhere outside of Australia, the only way that Australia can get to those countries is via two underground cables. So all of the internet from Australia goes out under the water through to Singapore or through to the US or up to Japan. And so if there was a war or someone snipped those cables in two, then all of a sudden no one's got any access to their website. So you can imagine, a bank like Westpac, and all your internet banking that you think you can access. If there was a war between Australia and the US and Westpac had hosted their website in the US, all of a sudden no one can do their banking.
Does it tell you at the bottom of every website where they hosted? Because that's important. I think
not generally.
Okay.
It's fairly easy to find out if you know what you're looking for, it's easy to figure out, but it's not generally public information that is sort of posted on the bottom of the website.
Sure.
But I think it's really important to know if your business does sit in the data sovereignty or that's important to you. But the primary reason that you would want it in Australia is if you're dealing with Australian clients.